everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am the Legally Blind Bookworm, and today's video is all about my next bingo. So this video is a little something special because actually I have two bingos that I just got. They just happened to fall really close together, so I thought I would do the next video with both of my bingos. As always, my bingo card is organized with a letter and a number for each cell. For my non-visual viewers, all of the rows going horizontally are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 going down, and all of the columns are labeled B, I, N, G, and O going from left to right. So the upper left corner is B1 and the lower right corner is O5. I hope that makes sense. So let me show you my bingos. So my first bingo actually falls in to the fourth row down, going B4, I4, N4, G4, and O4.
B4, an audiobook. For this, I chose the book Blood Vow.
Blood Vow is the second book in the Black Dagger Legacy series, which is the series that piggybacks J.R. Ward's more famous series of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. This category was really easy for me as I do 99% of my books in audio. I used to do some books on my closed circuit television, but I haven't done that in a while. So, of course, this is the second book, and I really enjoy these books, and this one did not disappoint me, and it is all about those vampires.
I4, a reread. For this, I chose the book Matilda.
So Matilda shows up on a couple different other challenges, but it also showed up, I believe, in my last video as a reread. So this was a book from my childhood that I definitely did enjoy. And as always, I love a good whimsical children's story sometimes in my reading. My daughter actually owns my copy of Matilda, and it is just one of those easy reads, and it definitely brings me back to my childhood.
N3, a book published in the year you were born. For this, I chose the book The Twits.
So for the next book, this actually had me searching the web for a book that was published in the year I was born, and that was 1980. I actually read a book that I thought went into this category, and come to find out it actually fit into another category. So for this book, I did The Twits by Roald Dahl. This is a really short story and a really easy read, but it is a whimsical book just like all of Roald Dahl's books, and it definitely had me giggling.
G4, a book with less than 219 pages. For this, I chose the book Alice in Wonderland.
So Alice in Wonderland is another children's book that is just a simple read, and it just happens to fit into the category of a book that is less than 219 pages. Unfortunately, I actually don't read many books that are less than 219 pages, as most of my books tend to be around the 300 mark, so this was just a book that happened to fall into the categories. Alice in Wonderland is just a whimsical book that I think most of us know, as it is a really classic children's book. Actually, this is kind of funny because Alice in Wonderland was actually a musical that my daughter did as an 8th grader, and I actually got to help out with this as part of the stage crew.
O4, a diverse book. For this, I chose the book The Color Purple.
So The Color Purple is a story about two African American women who live in Georgia and their lives. I'm gonna put up my trigger warning for this like I did in one of my other videos that this one showed up with. This definitely has some sensitive content in it if you're sensitive in regards to abuse and some other areas that I'm hoping not to spoil it for you. This was a really good book. It was hard for me to get into at first, But once I did get into it, I loved the way it was written, and I loved just the general content, as it wasn't something I normally read and it was not an area that I know a whole lot about. The ending definitely had me on my toes in hopes that something was going to happen, and I'm not going to spoil it. Of course, this is also a movie, which is where I actually heard about it from, and it's definitely a diverse book by the African American women and the whole African American culture that goes on with this book, and it is definitely up there on my two reads that I've had for a long time and was able to fulfill. So now we're going to go on to my second bingo. My second bingo falls into the last row of the bingo card with the numbers B5, I5, N5, G5, and O5.
B5, the oldest book in your to-read list. For this, I chose the book The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
So, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is definitely, I think, one of the oldest books that I've ever read. It might not be the oldest book, but it's definitely one of the oldest books. So this was really simple to put into the oldest book in my to-read list. So this is a book that brings me back to my high school days of sitting in my English class as a junior and reading The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn for a school project. Being that it's been so long, it actually was really enjoyable, and it just brought me back, and I did not remember much of the storyline except the basic storyline, so I definitely did enjoy this book.
I5, a book in a not normal genre. For this, I chose the book The Alchemist.
So I am normally a reader of romance novels or fantasy books. They tend to be just the genres that I tend to read. So finding a book that did not fit into my genres was not overly hard, because I do have such a fine line of my genres that I normally listen to. This happened to be a book that I actually found as I was searching for another category in my books, and it just happened to fit into this category. So The Alchemist is a shorter book, but it's a translated book. It's translated, gosh, I'm not sure where it's translated from, but I ended up finding it as a translated book. This is not a normal read. I did enjoy it. It is a book about a boy who's on a search for a jewel, if you want to call it that, and it has some more undertones of religious undertones, and it's a good book. It's a different book than what I normally read, so it's kind of hard for me to say whether I'd read it again, but it definitely is a book, and for somebody who might like books like that, I would definitely refer them to this book.
N5, a book chosen for its cover. For this, I chose the book Again the Magic.
Finding a book that I actually was drawn to the cover is more on the harder side, as I normally look at the authors and the series and the genres more than I look at the covers. So what I ended up doing was I ended up finding a book. I was searching for a book for another one of my challenges, and I actually just happened to be drawn to this cover. So this actually is a true that I was drawn to this cover and I read it because of the cover. The cover is really blue, and I think that's what drew me to it, because I could actually see what was on the cover. Again, the Magic is a historical romance, and I definitely did enjoy this book. Kind of an underdog versus royalty book, which is really neat. And I definitely like reading books from the historical romance that are about the aristocrats. And so this was a good book, and this is the first in the Wallflower series. So I definitely think I'm going to end up reading more of the Wallflower series.
G5, the 19th book in my to-read list. For this, I chose the book Consumed.
So the 19th book in my to-read list, what I did for this book is I actually just chose the 19th book that I've read so far this year. That is Consumed by J.R. Ward. This is a bit different than what I'm used to by J.R. Ward. So J.R. Ward is more commonly known for her Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and she is known for her fantasy type romance novels. Now, this is a romance novel, but this is not a fantasy or a vampire or anything like that. It's just about a woman and some firemen, which is really cool because I've done some other readings about firemen, and so this was pretty cool. It was a bit different, like I said, that I'm used to by J.R. Ward, but it didn't disappoint me.
Oh, 5, a library book. For this, I chose the book Mystery Man.
A library book was another one of those categories that was really easy for me. Although this is not your typical library, where I get most of my books is from the National Library Services for the Blind and Physically Handicapped, NLS, or the BARD program. So any of my books actually fall into a library book. So when I was filling in categories, I just happened to fill it in with one of my books that I've read. So I chose Mystery Man, which is the first in the Dream Man series by Kristen Ashley. I definitely really did enjoy this book, and it has shown up on, I know, at least one other challenge so far. This is a little bit of romance. Well, it's a big romance, a little bit of suspense, and a bad boy. So you gotta love those. So there are two more of my bingos. I think I'm going to end up doing my last two bingos, which will completely finish off my card. I'm going to end up doing the first row and the second row together, although there's going to be tons of other bingos that come into that. Most of those books I have not put into a challenge for my bingo cards yet, so I'm just going to end up doing both of them together. That will be my next video, which will finalize my bingo card. What I also plan to do is have a video just detailing out all of my books in this bingo, so make sure you watch for that. They probably will be posted the same day. And as always, link down below, you will find the link to the original post of the bingo card. You will also find the link to my blog that will have all of the books for the entire bingo card. Link down below is just the books that fall into this video. You will also find the link to my entire blog to show all of my challenges that I'm doing so far, and any of my other videos that might show up. Link down below is also the link to my Facebook. We are now also on Instagram, so if you're on Instagram, make sure you follow us on Instagram, and the link is always down below. And as always, all of the books are listed via the title, the book author, the NLS catalog number, and the Goodreads link, so make sure you click onto all of those to find out all of the information for all of these books. And we'll keep on reading, and see you next time.
If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and make sure you ring that bell for notifications.